Our speaker today has traveled all over the United States and spoken to more than 1 million students, educators, and business leaders, helping them create great moments in their personal and professional lives. As a student leader, elected official, and entrepreneur, Kelly Barnes has applied the life skills and leadership lessons that he will share with us today. Kelly is a highly sought-after speaker all over the nation because his audiences know that he will make you laugh, make you think, and most importantly, make you realize the importance of the things we do on a daily basis. When he is not speaking, Kelly enjoys running marathons, fishing, watching baseball, and cooking food for his family. Utah FFA, please make welcome Mr. Kelly Barnes.
Hey, Utah FFA, keep it going. Round of applause for our officer team. Make some noise for our officers. Woo! You know what, even better, round of applause for all the sponsors, the chaperones, the ag teachers, FFA advisors. Make some noise for them for being here, for putting this on, making it happen. Hey, even better, round of applause for you, just because you're here. You look nice, you butt the blue and go, yeah. Yeah, even better, round of applause just because you're not at school right now and you got to get it, yeah. Hey, I know it's a little late. I want to make sure we're alive and alert and awake. Do me a favor, take your left hand, place your left hand just like that. Take your right finger, place your finger in the palm of the person's hand seated next to you. Check your neighbor's work. Here's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to count to 3, not 1, not 2, but 3. When I say the number 3, your job is simple. Your job is to grab that person's finger before they have a chance to move their finger. Now, before we start, there are some rules, so put your hands down for a second. We got to cover the rules very quickly. Rule number 1, this is important. Rule number 1 is simply this. Do not grab someone's finger or move your finger until I say the number 3. Don't go on 1 or 2 or 2.5. Wait till 3. I say that over and over again because some of you have this look on your face that says, I cheat. Rule number 2, for your safety, make sure when you move your finger, move it up and not out like that, okay? Have fun, don't injure anybody. Oh, hey, finally, Utah, rule number 3, this is all for you. Rule number 3 is simply this. Make sure when you grab someone's finger, you don't forget to move your other finger, okay? There are like 2,000 of you, I guarantee you at least 20 of you are gonna go, ah, ha, ha, oh. Here we go, left hand up, right finger in the palm, best out of 3, on the count of 3, round 1, here we go, 1, 2, 3. Put it back, round 2. Here we go, round 2 on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go, round 3, put it back. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hey, do me a favor, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. Switch it up. If your left hand was like that, left finger, right hand. Just switch sides. No, switch sides. Some of you are just holding hands now. That's cool. This guy over here is like, this is amazing. He's going to go home. His parents are going to be like, son, how was the convention? Dad, it was awesome. I'm pretty sure I'm married. I don't know how it works. Here we go. Best out of 3. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go, try it again. 1, 2, 3. Here we go, last round, get them ready. Last round, on the count of 3, be ready. Here we go, 1, 2, there are some, hold on. There are some of you, when I'm at 2, you're right here. Put it back, this is for realsies, here we go. Guys, it's going to happen quickly. On the count of 3, be ready. Here we go. On 3, 1, 3. Give yourselves a round of applause. Great job. Hey, show of hands. How many of you actually were pretty good at that? How many of you are absolutely terrible? It's okay. Oh. Now, here's the thing. FFA members, the worst part is not being terrible. Because there comes a point, and you can ask your advisors, your parents, the sponsors here, the adults in the room, there comes a point in your life when you're terrible at something, you realize it, and you don't do that something. For example, if you can't swim, take a shower. Don't risk it with the bath, right? There's certain things, if you're terrible, don't do it. Here's the worst part. The worst part is when you almost have it. Ladies and gentlemen, the worst part is when it's right in your grasp and you just miss it. Some of us are those people in the room. How many of you, you're the person that just misses it no matter what it is? For example, how many of you, there's a subject in school you just do not get, right? You don't. How many of you it's math? How many of you it's science, history, geography? How many of you it's any time between 8 and 3, really? You've ever had that moment? You know that moment, FFA members, when it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you're looking around going, how did I get here? You retrace your steps. Some of us are the people that miss it. Some of us in this room, some of you are the last ones to get the joke. You're the last ones to get the joke. You know who you are. Yeah. And here's what's funny. My friend, over the years, you've realized this about yourself, and I guarantee at some point in your life, you've perfected what we call the fake laugh. Yeah? Yeah. And hey, and I want to let you know, on behalf of all of Utah, we know you didn't get the joke. And the reason is, your fake laugh sounds nothing like your real laugh. Your fake laugh sounds like a mule is choking to death, and your real laugh is not that way. Some of us just miss it. Guys, I don't want you to miss what this convention's about. FFA members, advisors, parents, I don't want you to miss what these 2 days are about here in Logan. If you would, do me a favor, turn to the person on your left and on your right and tell them they are so good looking today. I want to start off with a little bit of instant motivation, because when we say that, some of you are like, yes. And some of you went, not really, no. Hey, as we're here today and tomorrow, as you go through your competitions, as you listen to the speakers, as you attend the workshops, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to miss what this is about. As I said in my introduction, my name is Kelly. Can I get a hi, Kelly, on 3? 1, 2, 3. I live in Oklahoma. A little bit of exciting news. My wife and my daughter are back in Oklahoma, and recently we have a newborn baby living in our house. He's not ours. We don't know where he came from. No, we do. Thank you. We have a newborn. He's going to be 4 months old. His name is Jackie. So my daughter Bowen, my wife Jessica, my son Jackie, they're all at home right now, probably watching. If they are, go to bed. It's late. Go to bed. But when I left, they asked me the same question. Always the same question before I get on an airplane. My daughter, her name is Bowen. We call her Bo or Bobo or Mrs. Bojangles or Little Bo Peep, Bobo Baggins, Boranosaurus Rex. Sometimes we just take her to the zoo, hold her up in front of animals and say, Simbo. My daughter asked me the question. She said, Daddy, who are you speaking to when you go to Utah? And I laughed, and she laughed as well, because she said, oh, you're speaking to the same 3 people. Utah FFA, doesn't matter where I go, who I'm speaking to, whether I'm in Utah or California, whether it's FFA or an adult group, it could be HOSA, it could be TSA or FCCLA. Doesn't matter if it's students or adults. There are only 3 types of people in the room. In this room right now, all of you fall into one of 3 categories. Some of you will know as soon as I say it. You'll be like, that's me. Some of you, I'll have to help you. Right now in this room, we have 3 people, 3 types. We have prisoners, not in the legal sense, don't worry. Some of you are looking around. Some of you sadly were like, how did he find out? We have prisoners in the room. Where are the prisoners? Make some noise. We know you're here. Make some noise, prisoners. Thank you. It's okay. Second group we have in the room, vacationers. And the third group we have in the room are what we call students. There's some students in the room. Students, make some noise. Prisoners, vacationers, students. If you still don't know who you are, let me help you out. Prisoners in the room. If you're unsure, here's how you came to be here today. Prisoners. Couple days ago, couple weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, your FFA advisor came to you and they said, hey, listen, state convention's coming up. It's going to be in March. It's going to be in Logan. It's going to be 2 days. There's going to be workshops, competitions, leadership development. And you went, what? You want me to go compete and learn leader? I'm busy. And they went, oh, I'm not asking. You will get on the bus, and you are going to Logan. You will smile, you will have fun, and you will not embarrass this good name of our town. Again, where the prisoners at, make some noise. It's okay. It's okay. We're glad you're here. Prisoners in the room, you might not have volunteered, but you were voluntold to be here, and we're okay with that. Second group we have, vacationers. Vacationers. Here's how you came to be here a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago. Your advisor came to you and said, hey, state conference is happening in Logan. We're going to miss some school. And you said, let's go. That was it. That was it. We're going to miss school. What are we waiting on? They said, you don't even know what's going to happen there. You said, I don't really care. They said, we're going to put you in a large gymnasium. We're going to lock the doors from the outside, put in snakes and alligators. It's called Make It Out Alive. And you're like, why are you still talking? Let's go. As long as I'm missing math or science, as long as I'm not home with mom and dad, brother and sister, again, we're the vacationers. Make some noise. We're glad you're here. Whew. Third group of people, students in the room. Students, your advisor didn't call you or text you, or you've been bothering them for weeks on end. Are you sure we're registered? Do we have the hotel rooms reserved? Great. We should make shirts. Let's get shirts. You woke up last night at midnight going FFA, 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 FFA. Your two best friends are Quarter and Roy, right? We're the students in the room. Make some noise. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you're a prisoner or a vacationer or a student, whether you're an adult in the room that was forced to be here, a student in the room that woke up wanting to be here, ladies and gentlemen, it does not matter to me, it does not matter to most of us, because the bottom line, prisoners, vacationers, or students, where are you? Here. When is it? Now. Hey, here's my thought. Since we're here now, let's be here and be now. Let's make the most of this opportunity. Since we're here now, let's do our best to show up as a student. And when I say prisoners, vacationer, student, please understand, everybody's going to be a prisoner at some point. Doesn't matter. Some of you are prisoners right now, not because you don't love the FFA. Some of you are prisoners, maybe you just had a bad day. Anybody ever had a bad day happen to you, right? You wake up late, not 10 minutes late, like 2 days late. You know what I'm talking about. Fell into a coma, no one told you. Everyone's a prisoner at some point. Perfect example. You ever been to a baby shower? Everyone's a prisoner. Even the baby's trying to find a way out. We're all prisoners at some point in our life. Here's the challenge, ladies and gentlemen. It becomes a habit. It becomes a habit to have to. It becomes a habit to got to. It becomes a habit to be forced. How many of you know you're creatures of habit? There are things you do without even realizing it. I bring this up right now because some of you at this moment are doing it. Some of you are creatures of habit. Here's what I mean. How many of you in the room right now, when you're seated, whether it's at a convention like this, you're in class, you're having dinner, how many of you are the people who you tap your leg back and forth just like, yeah, how many of you are doing it at that moment and didn't realize it? Very good. We're all creatures of habit. Some of you in this room, some of you chew your nails, you bite your nails. Where are those people? Wow. How many of you, if you have a pen or pencil, you'll find yourself chewing on the pen or pencil? Yeah? How many ever been doing that and then realized halfway through, I don't know where I got this pen or pencil, it's not mine, this is disgusting? Oh, if you had the clicky pen, how many of you, you click the pen excessively? You're one of the, I did some research. There is actually a scientific term for those of you who click your pens excessively. If you're one of those people, you're what the rest of us call annoying. Stop doing that. It's amazing the habits we have from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, hundreds of things that we do, things we don't even think about. For example, how many of you, if we were to go to your house right now, have dinner at your dinner table, everybody in your family would have the same seat as they always do around the dinner table? How many of you right now are thinking, dinner table? No, we get the food, living room, Netflix, we gotta go, right? Yellowstone's on. It's amazing the habits we have from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. Ladies and gentlemen, it becomes very easy. It becomes very easy to make it a habit to be a prisoner. Especially in 2023, it's very easy to make it a habit to become a prisoner. We're all creatures of habit. Some of us in this room, how many of you, show of hands, when you go, show of hands if you are a shower at night person. Shower at night person. Show of hands if you're a shower in the morning people. Show of hands if you didn't raise your hand for either option. How many of you in the shower, you have the same routine every single time? Same routine, right? How many of you, the routine, and you take the, what's the, loofah or poof. You put the body wash on. First of all, nobody just puts it on. You got to make a smiley face or write your initials or the first paragraph of the creed, right? If you're like me, I always do a smiley face. Happy. Sad. Happy. Mad. Happy. Dead. Just me, whatever. I guarantee you tomorrow morning one of you is going to do that, right? It's amazing the habits we have. How many of you, when you take the loofah, you start washing the same spot first every single time? It's amazing the habits we have. Ladies and gentlemen, as an FFA member in this organization, I had the opportunity to serve as an FFA member, a chapter officer, a state officer for 2 years. One thing I can tell you about this organization is we learn the right habits. And one of those habits is how to show up a student. People notice when you learn this habit. It's amazing because it's such a small thing, but how many of you know, just like our theme this year, Strive, how many of you know Strive is that little bit more than you do that anybody else doesn't do? It's that little bit extra. When we force ourselves to make these habits, amazing things happen. My daughter taught me this a few years ago, 5 years ago to be exact. I'll never forget, 5 years ago it was September 16th. That was my birthday, which coincidentally is also my mother's Labor Day. Some of you will get that later. September 16th, my daughter's 4 years old. She comes running into the house. My wife and my daughter had been to their favorite place in the world, Dollar General. How many of you love the DG? Yeah. They went to Dollar General, and I could tell my daughter was excited when she came in the house because she came in running and she was screaming, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, I got your birthday present, Daddy." And as she came around to the living room, my wife was behind her, and my wife gives me one of these, which is code for go in the other room. I went in the other room. My wife said, "Hey, before you go in there and get your gift from Bowen, you need to understand I had nothing to do with it." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I gave her some money. She took care of the gift. I had nothing to do with it." I said, "Okay." I walk into the living room again. My daughter's there, 4 years old, so excited. Some of you have little brothers and sisters that are almost real people. You know, they're tiny. And you know how excited they get if they have something. I walk in, sure enough, she's standing in the middle of the living room, and she's got this card in her hand. No envelope, just a card. She says, "Daddy, read mine first." And I brought the card with me because I know. I was there. I brought it with me because I take it with me everywhere for the past 5 years. And I wanted to read this to you. This was a card from my daughter on my birthday. She was 4 years old, and the card says this: "With deepest sympathy, wishing you peace and comfort during this difficult time." It's a sympathy card. That's what Hallmark wrote. I didn't bring this card to tell you that's what Hallmark wrote. I brought you this card to tell you what my 4-year-old daughter wrote to me. A 4-year-old that I can tell you now at 9 years old, one of the habits she has is to show up as a student. To show up whether it's a good day or a bad day, whether it's a Monday or a Friday, whether it's something we want to do or something we need to do, to show up as a student, to be here and be now, to be present. I brought this to read to you what my daughter wrote, and this is a letter from my 4-year-old daughter to her father. And the letter says this. It says, squiggly mark. I think that's a triangle. Squiggly mark, that's like a map of the Amazon somewhere. There's a heart, looks like a monkey, and then she signed it, either Bobo, Dodo, or Poop. I don't know. And here's the funny thing about this card. If I was to leave this card here, if I was to leave it on the airplane tomorrow and somebody was to pick it up, they would look at this card and they would go, "That makes no sense." Parents in the room? Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Because we have drawers full of these at the house. Parents in the room, makes perfect sense because we can speak kid. Because this 4-year-old didn't write to me, squiggly mark, dot, dot, triangle, map of the M. Here's what the card says. Here's what the card says in 4-year-old speak. It says, Daddy, I'm not really old enough to comprehend what this is all about. I'm not old enough to purchase you a gift that a 30-year-old would want. Father, I'm not really old enough to write you a letter that's legible that you can read, but here's what I do know. I do know today's important to you, and I want you to know you're important to me. The card says this. It says, every time I come home from school and you stop what you're doing and you listen to me tell stories, it makes me feel like the most important person in the world. That's being a student. It says, Daddy, every time I come into the house and you put a Band-Aid on a boo-boo or a cold rag on a feverish forehead, Daddy, it makes me feel protected. That's what being a student's about. You see, I love this card for a lot of reasons. One, it's just funny. But the second reason what I want to share with you, Utah FFA, is this card taught me something 5 years ago. It actually taught me that I was lied to. And I want you to know you've been lied to as well. It's not your parents' fault. They were the ones that lied to you, but it's not their fault. Your teachers lied to you. It's not their fault. They heard the same lie. We've all heard it in our lives, and the lie is simply this. It's the thought that Utah FFA, I'll tell you something. My daughter could have came home to me and said, Daddy, I saw this card. I thought about getting it. Daddy, I saw this gift. I thought about getting it for you. And I just said, thank you, sweetheart. That is so sweet of you to think of me. Ladies and gentlemen, the thought does count, but it's the action that makes the difference. It's one thing to think about how we can strive in our own lives to better ourselves, to better our communities, to practice the true day in, day out, capital T, truth of what this organization is, which is service to our fellow man. Because I truly believe someone that came through this organization, grew up on a farm, our job as FFA members, our job as ag teachers, our job as parents and sponsors is to strive to be a steward of this land, a steward of the people we get to associate with. It's to strive to make our schools better, the hallways better, our workplaces better, and our homes better. It's the action that makes the difference. It's the little things we do on a regular basis. And I want you to end tonight with this action. It's something I taught my daughter when she started going to school. It's a pretty simple rule, but here's how I want to do it. We're going to split you guys up. If you would, if you're from here over, raise your hand. All of you guys up there, yeah. For here over, you're group number 1. That's going to be your group. You're group number 1. What group are you? 1. A little bit louder. What group? 1. From there to right here, raise your hand. All of you guys right up through there. Yes. Yes. You're group number 2. What group are you? Okay. From here over, raise your hand. Everybody else, you guys are group number 3. Very good. Groups 1, 2, 3. Here's how we're going to do this. When my daughter was going to daycare, kindergarten for the first time, we would teach her this rule. It's 3 simple words. She knows this rule. If you were to call my daughter right now and say, hey, Bowen, what's the main rule in your house? She would tell you 3 simple words. Be to get. That's the rule. Be to get. So group number 1, here in a moment, anytime I point to you, you're going to yell your word, which is be, as loud as you can. So let's practice that. Anytime I point to group number 1, as loud as you can, yell the word be. A little practice? Be. Group number 2. Your word is to. Anytime I point to you, you're going to yell the word to as loud as you can. Let's practice a little bit. Be a little louder than group number 1. Show them what you got. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Finally, group number 3, your word is get. Be to get. Your word is get as loud as you can on the count of 3. Group number 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah! We're going to go back and forth. Be to get, be to get. I might go be, to, get. At the end, we're going to do the big closing. Here's how it's going to look. When you see me put my hands together, you're going to put your hands together just like that. When I pull my hands apart, you'll pull your hands apart. You're going to go, yeah, just like that. Try it. Yeah. When I slap my hands, you're going to slap your hands. It's going to look like this. You're going to go, yeah, boy, just like that. Here we go. Let's try it. Yeah. And if I go long, you go long. Yeah. And if I go short, you go short. And if I repeat, you repeat? No. And second, that we're streaming. I don't want Utah FFA to be remembered for, yeah boy, yeah boy, yeah boy, yeah boy. That's bad. Utah FFA. Groups 1, 2, and 3. B2 get as loud as you can. Group 1, you ready? Say uh-huh. Group 2, say uh-huh. Group 3. Very good. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was pretty good. B2 get. What's it mean for my daughter when she was going to daycare or kindergarten? As an only child, we would say, hey, Bowen, you have to be a friend too. Utah FFA, you know that rule, it never changes, but the rule can change for different parts of our life. Because the rule simply means this: you have to be willing to fail in order to get success. You have to be willing to do the little things in order to get the big things. You have to be willing to do what others don't in order to have what others won't. You have to be willing to strive just a little bit harder to get to that point in your journey. And here's the great thing, Utah FFA, when you practice the rule, which is, and you teach others the rule, which is, and you make the rule a habit, which is, one day you're going to find yourself in a situation where you, I know, we were here. My time's up. Thank you guys so very, very much. Have a great rest of your conference. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Thank you guys.
Mr. Barnes, thank you for sharing your wise words with us. Please accept this gift as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you.